3 of our Human Relations course on managing stress. And here we will be talking about the different sources of stress that is causing us to experience physiological responses of stress. So what is actually causing us to feel stress? We can have sources of stress come from our personal domain in life as well as from work. So this slide gives us 2 lists. And as we chatted about on the prior slide, these are either work stressors or personal stressors. So if we start with the work stressors, these are things such as long hours. Studies show today that the average worker works about 44 hours, while those in management and leadership who are exempt tend to work way more than 44 hours a week. And this doesn't leave a lot of time for regular life, seeing family and friends, getting groceries, prepping dinner, exercising, etc. So long hours at work definitely causes stress. We also have increased demands. Technology is causing us to feel chased or be chased constantly, checking our emails, getting directions or requests from the boss. So we do have more demands from work today than we did a handful of decades ago. Being treated unfairly, whether that is from your colleagues, whether that is from a boss. So actually being bullied, being harassed, having inconsistent decisions being made, etc. Being treated unfairly or unjustly is a great source of stress. It can also be stressful to not be seen, to not get acknowledgement for the work we do or rewards for what we accomplished, for the results that we accomplished. It doesn't mean we have to get prizes or bonuses, but having actually someone notice and give feedback on the work that we put in is stressful. Lack of control is stressful because as humans, we have a great need for control. We want to be in charge of our own lives, and having a micromanager that doesn't trust and that checks every little thing causes stress. Politics, office politics, of course, people gossiping, people bringing their own agendas, people manipulating or networking in a way that is not beneficial to the employees in the organization or to the goals of the organization. So all of those are sources of stress at work. There is also personal stress that can increase your overall level of stress. So your everyday challenges, being busy with groceries and dishes and laundry and kids and pets and friends and house and exercise, everything that needs to be done in those 24 hours. And of course, personality matters. Some of us are more wired to feel stress. We are more neurotic, perhaps. We have lower levels of emotional stability. And so our personality actually does make a difference. We might be more of a type A person who is restless, right? That is never a badge of honor to be type A. It means that we can't figure out how to get things done appropriately, right? So we're always stressed and always on the move. And then we have something called work-life balance. We've talked about this now for 30 years, and it seems to get worse rather than it's getting better. Except maybe our Gen Z generation might figure this out for us. So we're working more, we have less time for our families, and just managing the interaction between those two becomes difficult. And recognizing, of course, that things that happened in your life outside of work will impact your work, and vice versa, right? So these are not separate from each other. So the work-life balance also tell us we have that barrier between work and life that's permeable, right? We can have things move through it. Life changes like moving houses, having a child, divorcing, getting married, moving cities, getting a new job causes stress. There's a number of these big life events that cause stress. Financial issues. Many people worry about money, about having enough money. The American Psychological Association did a study that said that 64% of people in general worry about money, but 81% of Gen Z, worry about money. So big numbers think about finances and income and bills often. And then friends and family. Challenging relationships with friends and family around us, people not being supportive, etc., can cause us stress. And of course, these lists are not exhaustive. There might be other things that cause stress in your life that you don't see on a slide here. So how do you reduce stress? So your textbook talks about the 4 A's. So there's 4 ways, different ways, where you can deal with the stress you have. So the first one is avoid. If you are able to actually avoid some of the stressors, do it. A quick and easy one is news, getting too much information, too much depressing information possibly. So staying away from TV, news, YouTube, TikTok, whatever it is that's causing you to feel more stress. Avoid it. Avoid bad people, avoid traffic if you can, avoid grocery shopping 8 times a week, do it 1 time a week, etc. Alter the stressor. So can you change it, right? Change how you work with the stressor. So is it a colleague at work? Maybe you can communicate your needs and your wants. Maybe you need to be more assertive. Maybe you need to manage your time better. So if you cannot avoid it, maybe you can change it. So alter it is the second one. The third one is adapting. Okay, so we can't avoid it and we can't change it. So maybe now we just have to adapt to this stressor being in our life. Maybe we can think about it differently, see the positive in a situation. I know that is hard in very difficult situations, but what positive things can you see from it? What coping mechanisms can you put in place so that you can manage your stress better? Can you exercise more? Can you eat healthier? Can you get better sleep? Can you see a therapist? How can you change it? Can you reframe the stressor, etc.? So considering how important that stressor is in the long run, adapting to it if you have to, if you cannot avoid it. And then lastly, we are accepting. So this is the stressors that will always be in our lives, right? We have to work, we have to take care of our home, we have to take care of ourselves, right? So there are certain things in life that just come with being alive. And so those we have to accept, even though we might find them stressful sometimes. So here it is really important that we develop tolerance so that we can manage what we have, and then also making sure that we never stress about the things that we cannot control. I come back to the plate analogy. I use that all the time. What is on my plate? The things that are on my plate are the things I can control. That's the only stuff that I pay attention to. If I cannot control it, it should not be in my head. It's not on my plate. So think about how you can manage those stressors we cannot avoid or adapt. Some other sort of daily methods that we can use to reduce stress are listed on this slide. Things such listening to music that we enjoy, getting sleep, drinking tea, meditating, going through yoga, exercising, seeing friends that are good for us, funny friends, supportive friends, getting a massage, doing something spiritual, going to church, reading books. Chewing gum apparently has helped reduce stress levels. Exercising, I already mentioned. We also mentioned developing good time management skill, having our place organized. All those things help us feel better. Healthy diets, picturing ourselves being relaxed, so visualizing or somehow mentally thinking through what we want our life to be, or finding pictures that represent that and visualizing. And that can actually help us become more relaxed. Deep breath. So you breathe in, 1, 2, 3. You pause, 1, 2, 3. And you breathe out, 1, 2, 3. And breathing slowly and counting, you can count to 3, you can count to 4, you can count to 5, will increase oxygen into your body and you will feel calmer. I do that a lot. I do breathing exercises often because I stress a lot. Social interaction we mentioned already, and positive thinking. So we keep coming back to the positive thinking and the positive self-talk. Very important. And that is something that you ought to be working on if you're not. So we are in a pandemic turning into an endemic, meaning this is something we will have to live with. And this is a time of crisis. And a pandemic is one type of crisis. There might be other types of crises. So thinking about how we do stress management during a crisis. So finding ways of making ourselves feel safe. So think about what causes us anxiety, recognizing and allowing us to have feelings of anxiety, and that is okay. But also if there are things we can do to remove those stressors that are causing the anxiety, right? We cannot remove the COVID situation, but we can remove the news, or we can remove that person, or we can find ourselves outside of the house for walks, right? Doing things to reduce the anxiety, and then increasing our sense of safety. So in COVID, it might be wearing a mask, washing our hands, staying away from people, thinking about who our friends are. So then we don't have to spend mental bandwidth worrying about what is going on. And so for the different crises that you are encountering, think about proactively how you can actually manage it. So actual stress management during a time of crisis. So in summary, stress can be experienced at work, and it can come from things such as high demands, layoffs, even though we didn't talk about that, but that's one big life event, right? Conflicts among coworkers, harassment, unfair coworkers, office politics, technology. Many people can also experience personal stress that influence work, right? It influences our productivity. Things such life changes, financial issues, family and friends, and our own personality. We have 4 A's of stress reduction that can help us reduce stress. Avoid, alter, adapt, and accept. There's a variety of other things that can reduce stress we just talked about. Exercise, healthy diet, meditation, social interaction, and chewing gum. Getting better at time management and organization also will help you manage stress because you have more structure in your life, which will give you more control. So with that, we are closing the chapter on stress. I hope you are calm, and I hope this is helpful. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer them. So with that, I'll see you